Hi, and welcome to this special edition of the monthly Drewry Freight Loop. I'm Chantal McRoberts, Director of our Supply Chain Advisory team, and I am joined by Stacey Kobayashi, our Ocean Freight Strategy and Sustainability Expert. And today we're going to have a discussion about how shippers can implement sustainability into their ocean freight programme. Hi Stacey, and thanks for joining. Could you give our listeners an insight into your background and why you are passionate about sustainability in ocean shipping, please?
Yes, hi Chantal, thanks for that, and I'd be delighted. Thanks again for today's invitation. It's great to be here, and timing is really good to discuss sustainability. As we all know, summer weather anomalies provide us with sort of a powerful reminder of climate change. Climate change is real. I've led transportation at several global brands, including leadership roles at Nike and Starbucks Coffee, where sustainability strategies were aggressively executed across the enterprise. I'm fortunate to have had experience with sustainability in global transportation at both the strategic and the operational levels. In these organizations, supply chain and especially transportation evolved to become key pillars of the overall enterprise-wide sustainability strategy. Recently, I've also had the opportunity to work with a wide variety of shippers, from the most enthusiastic trailblazers to those just kind of starting to think about how to organize their operations and strategies around key sustainability principles. So I think it's really now that it's really clear that sustainability and best practices in this area is no longer optional for global shippers. The time to either solidify or to start working on managing and delivering ocean freight services more sustainably is really now.
Thanks, Stacey. You must have seen so much working at those organisations.
Yes.
So in your opinion, what do shippers need to do to initiate a sustainability programme, and who do they need buy-in from within their organisation based on your experience?
Good question. And, I think everybody is anxious, a lot of sustainability talk, but clearly implementing a sustainability strategy doesn't happen overnight. So shippers first need to have a comprehensive transportation strategy. Ideally, that's a 3-year rolling strategy. That's where it all starts. This transportation strategy becomes a platform to secure buy-in and alignment across the organization. That alignment is both up, down, is sideways across the organization for the future sustainability program to work. To initiate and build a long-term sustainability program, shippers need to ensure the strategy matches the scale of transportation growth ambitions, along with clearly defined and measurable outcomes. Critically, this will require the active involvement of key stakeholders within the organization and external stakeholders, including their carriers and their forwarders, and looking at clear internal organization governance structures to ensure accountability, robust implementation, target setting, and monitoring.
Wow, that's certainly a lot, and for everybody to sort of take that on board, I think is sort of a massive task for the team involved. What do you see as the most common stumbling blocks to starting this?
There are a few, but the most common I see is weak target setting across shippers, which results in a very confusing journey. So a common example is the measuring of carbon emissions, where ocean carriers and forwarders do not have a standardized customer-facing carbon emission measurement methodology and their tools. This creates considerable confusion among shippers as they try to leverage these results.
Yeah, that's something that we see quite often now in our advisory team. Our clients are confused about what to do. And then how do they translate all of this into a procurement practice? Or say, for example, how do they include that in their bid? It's a really tricky time to try and implement something that's so new. What's your view?
Yeah, tricky time indeed, and a lot of moving parts. So the transportation team should align with the sourcing and procurement teams and other relevant functions internally. They should ensure the supplier-facing approaches are consistent and incorporate sustainability. Key areas include the way they prospect, how they prospect for the ocean carriers and forwarders, how they manage their incumbent ocean carriers and forwarders, and then how they design their ocean freight bid, how they execute that bid, and then how they allocate. These activities should all incorporate sustainability. Sustainability-focused initiatives should be incorporated into a carrier and forwarder pre-bid survey and boilerplate language, their internal allocation process, or a pre-allocation as we call it, should also incorporate sustainability. Perhaps they would develop a bid rating scorecard, and also what are their final allocation guidelines for awarding the business. The pivot here is to incorporate sustainability into allocation awards using a formal and weighted process that's aligned across all key stakeholders.
There is so much to take in there, Stacey, and I can fully understand how the shippers are faced with a massive task and don't know where to start. And what doesn't help that is that the subject is constantly evolving. So the best practices are constantly changing. And you've mentioned that target setting is one of the sort of grayer areas, or one that is inconsistent. So to your mind, what are the best practices around that? And, you know, especially given that the overall objective of all of this is to reduce global emissions.
So you've got to start somewhere. So first, consider reorganizing your internal sustainability network. Create one which will enable faster development and execution of your sustainability programs. This network should include a member from your sustainability team, along with your transportation and your sourcing and procurement team members. This network will establish meaningful sustainability targets, what I call the vital few, don't measure too many. And these sustainability targets should also support the transportation strategy. Consider targets that focus on emission reductions and advancing key partnerships to start. Some examples include year-over-year greenhouse gas emission reductions on high-volume lanes, and also looking to reduce carbon intensity across vessel sizes. So how you're allocating your business across the strings that you're currently using.
Wow, Stacey, I really appreciate all these valuable insights and taking the time to give a very brief explanation to our listeners. I'm sure this is a subject we'll be revisiting as the world of sustainable shipping evolves. Just a few key takeaway points for our listeners. Later in September, Drewry will be publishing a free paper on decarbonisation and sustainability aimed at shippers. This will provide practical insights on what shippers should know and the impact of sustainability on capacity, service and cost, and of course how to monitor those CO2 emissions. In addition to this, there will be a free emission measurement providers comparison guide, which compares the capabilities, accuracy and profiles of the major providers of greenhouse gas emission measurements, all of which are certified under the GLEC framework. So please look out for these on our website and social media channels. Of course, if you have any questions, whether that be about sustainability, bid practices, etc., then please reach out to the team. And finally, thank you for listening, and thank you to Stacey.